All right. Good morning, everyone. We'll go ahead and get started with Coach Traylor. JJ.
Jeff, just what were some of your big takeaways from this week's game?
Really happy for my kids, to go on the road in weather that was not ideal. Temple's homecoming had a nice crowd. They were really into the game. This misnomer, I've already talked to you about it once, of the city of brotherly love. We didn't feel much love up there, but I was really happy for our kids. Defensively, we turned the ball over 3 times. One of them got called back. Did a great job shutting down the run. Did not get off the field very well on 3rd down. A lot of credit to Warner, but we also had a lot of mistakes in our dime package. Offensively, the cleanest we've been all year. Special teams, the penalty they called on Amador, I can understand why, but he made a great block. The kid kind of fell, and David fell on top of him. And I hate that because we had a great return there. So the celebration in the end zone, I hate that. Our kids, that's a lot of frustration built up for a month of September. We didn't play well, and we didn't handle that very well. That's got to get addressed. And but yeah, happy to be 1-0, first AAC win. That's a big one to get under our belt to start off conference play.
Jeff, Frank coming back from the turf toe after missing 2 games. It felt like it was longer than 2 games, but what did it mean to have him back in for the offense?
Well, just his presence just calms everybody, gives everybody confidence. He did a really great job in getting our players the ball. He spread the ball around to a lot of different players. We really hit on our big plays. Really happy for him. We didn't run him a lot. We were trying to be smart with him. And he pulled it down, a couple of times, one on design. But I was glad to see him get hit and get up and be confident about that. And he's really excited about how he feels. Of course, like Frank, he's disappointed a couple of throws he made. But everybody needs to understand, since that bowl game, he hasn't played a lot of live football. And each week we can keep him healthy and he gets to play, he's going to continue to get better.
Jeff, what about the leadership component of Frank being at the game? They showed him on TV a couple of times jumping around with the guys on the sidelines. And what does he bring from that standpoint?
I never watched the TV copy, so I never ever know what is being said or even shown. So I can just imagine that being Frank. I mean, this week's Culture Pillar is passion, and we really talk a lot about that. We don't ever want to be fake. We want to love our teammates so much that you really are truly that happy for him. And it's amazing in life when you just get out of yourself and get into everybody else, how life is just so much more enjoyable. And Frank really has, mastered that. He's about the other people, and he's letting go of that. As all of us do as we get a little older in life, if we're conscious about it, he's really into his teammates, and you can just tell by the way he carries on.
Greg, we'll go to you.
Jeff, for you guys, what went into the decision to have Venley back at left tackle?
We just felt like that was the move we need to make our team better right now.
How did you feel he played being back at that position for the first time this year? Played
really well. And I would say as much as putting Venley back there was the emergence of Corey coming on at right guard. We had to get our 5 best offensive linemen on the field, and Corey was one of the 5 best, and he played that way.
Do you think you're getting closer to finding a group of 5 guys that you feel good about keeping consistently going forward, or is there still going to be continued kind of tinkering there?
We're competition going. We're pretty deep. We feel like we can play, up to 8 or 9 guys, but obviously you'd like to get some continuity going there just for the communication's sake. There's a lot of things going on up there, and we busted one down there on the red zone. That's a simple communication error that probably us moving him out there cost us on that play.
Steven.
Hey, Coach, you guys reached 40 points in a game for the first time this season. What do you think was the biggest factor in scoring all those points Saturday?
Protecting our quarterback first and foremost. We kind of know what our receivers can do right now. We've kind of got them moved around in the spots where we feel like we're giving them the best chance to be successful. And then players. It's always players, and our players really played well. I'm not even sure if we had a pre-snap penalty. If we did, I don't remember it. I know we had no turnovers. We didn't execute on 4th and 1 one time. It was very disappointing. I'm mad at myself. I should have let Justin go with the original call, and I intervened, and I'm mad at myself. So, yeah, other than a couple of we had to call a timeout one time, on a 3rd down call. We didn't that you hate to do that in the second half, to have to bring you timeouts. But other than that, our kids were pretty much spotless, and really happy for my players. The penalties in the end zone I've already mentioned. A lot of frustration there. There's been a month of us not playing up to our standards, and I know we only had a 2-game losing streak, but it seemed like a 4-game losing streak, because whenever you do that during the bye week, you get 2 weeks of everybody telling you how stupid you are.
And Frank, he reached 10,000 career passing yards in the 3rd quarter. What are your thoughts on that accomplishment, and what does it mean having him out there?
Yeah, I didn't watch the TV copy, but I've been told by numerous people that they were kind of, painting a narrative that's 7 years for him. Yeah, it's 7 years, but the kid's played quarterback for 4 years. He played very, very little in those other 3 years. So I hate that narrative being painted that way. But for 10,000 yards and basically 4 seasons, what this kid's done for our program, I've said it for a long time. He'll always be remembered for that, but he's got some more things he wants to get done. He's not finished just yet.
And you guys, each year you've been here, y'all started 1-0 in conference. What is it about just the way the team kind of responds when the schedule turns to conference?
I've got great players, and they understand the importance of conference, and they know when you win your conference, you get really good bowl games, and it's fun. And I also think it's just a win the day mentality. We just keep stacking days, and we just get a little bit better each week. We just continue to get better. Doesn't mean we're perfect, but our fan base, the true fans that have really followed us diligently for 4 years, would say that's pretty much the way they do it. It's never just perfect. They just kind of find a way, and our kids found a way again.
Greg.
Jeff, what are the pros and cons of having the offensive coordinator in the booth versus on the field?
The pros would be just, it's a more calm environment. You've got all your paperwork spread out right in front of you, so you don't have to hold it and look at it. The cons, you don't feel the emotion of the game. You're not down there amongst the fire. But there are tons of guys that have done it successfully both ways. I mean, you could make an argument for both.
Is there a reason that sticks out as why it was better for you guys this week that Justin Burke was upstairs? Well, how did he respond to that sort of change?
I think way too much is made of that. It's a player's game. Our players played very, very well. Our quarterback played very well. Our offensive line protected. Our backs, receivers, tight ends all made plays. It's a player's game. They played their best game of the year. I'm really happy for my players.
I'm interested about the players component of that. Does somebody different interface with the tight ends during the game because he's upstairs, or does anything change with the way that operates on the sidelines?
Yeah, we brought Sean Davis down, and they just swapped responsibilities there.
JJ.
Jeff, what did you see on film from your defense? Obviously, the 2 turnovers were huge, but some things lacking in the passing game.
JJ, you cut out. I think your voice is real sore from how bad you were hollering at your Cowboys last night. So if you could just repeat that question one more time, please.
What did you see on film from your defense? Obviously, the 2 turnovers, but the passing defense was not great.
Yeah, I'm really pleased with how our defense calls 3 turnovers. 2 of them. The call was legit. Jamori just was reaching up for the ball. It was a good call. We really shut down the running game, but we were really poor on 3rd down. We need to get Trey Moore healthy. We need to get Danye Taylor healthy. We need to get Brandon Matterson healthy. That's going to help. But I've said it a million times. Healthy teams don't win championships. Tough ones do. Those new guys that were out there in that dime package, we got to do a better job of coaching them. We had some communication errors. We had some mistakes made by veterans. We had some mistakes made by new kids out there. And the Warner kid played very well.
Greg.
Jeff, I think you mentioned after the game that there were some issues with the zone defense and how you didn't kind of match up effectively. Did you see that on film as well? And how can you address that area going forward?
Yeah, we just got to push out better. We've got to do a better job in there. We were leaving the curl wide open numerous times, and they were doing a good job of scheming us too. And then there was, they ran the trick play, and we had a call made. It wasn't a great call on it. It was a perfect call by them. We busted that one. And he made some scramble throws that were incredible, and their kids made some plays too. So it was just a perfect storm, and things we can get better at, that we will get better at. But yeah, we're still disappointed in the way we played over there. Got to be careful as a team win. They also caused 2 turnovers that helped us get 14 points. We had field position, which we haven't had all year. Our special teams are really close to making a big play. They're going to get there. And it was a team win. We can't lose sight of that. It's never as bad as you think it is. It's never as good as you think. Our offense didn't just become incredible overnight, and our defense just didn't become terrible overnight. We got to keep getting better a little bit every day.
Was any part of Temple's ability to move the ball through the air tied to you guys prioritizing shutting down the run game? I think Ken Robinson told me that was the focus coming in.
It's always our focus, but we did not. We had plenty of guys in coverage. We were dropping 8 and dropping 7 most of the night. We didn't think we could get to him because he gets rid of the ball so quickly. Hindsight being 2020, maybe we should have had a few more blitz packages in the plan, but we just didn't match up very well. We were playing 5 under, 2 deep most of the night, and we did not match our 5 under very well on their 5. A great spacing concept team. They do a really good job of running spacing concepts, and with a lot of success, and we didn't do a very good job of stopping it.
3rd and 4th down have been tough spots for your defense really through the year up to this point. Is there something that's missing to prevent converting in a higher percentage in those spots?
It's kind of been the strength of us for 4 years. So we're at it's always just something different each time. And obviously Army was one way of doing it. This was Army another way, right? Army did it with just running the ball about 3 or 4 yards at a time, and Temple did it by throwing it. 65 throws in a game, you won't do that many times in your career. Or Army, the way they did it. It's just got to keep getting better, Greg, and that's all we can do.
Stephen.
Coach, looking ahead at UAB, what stands out to you about them?
How good they are on offense. I mean, it starts with their quarterback. Zeno's playing incredible. They've got really good running backs. Both those kids are different, man. And those receivers are different. Those slots can really go. They're big on the edges out there. Their tight end's a big, powerful kid. Their offensive line's very scrappy. They do a really good job. Other than Tennessee, it's the most explosive offense we've seen this year, and we've already played Texas State. And they've got better players than we feel like even Texas State did. And we had a lot of respect for what Texas State had as well. So it's a very, very talented offense that's executing at a very high level, and we're going to have our hands full. Now I'm excited we're coming home. Our crowd's usually really, really loud and good, especially on a Saturday night in San Antonio. I'm sure they'll be just ready to roll, and our defense feeds off of that, and we're going to need that help Saturday night.
Does the game being in the evening kind of change the pregame routine a little? Or, I mean, it's different than like an 11 a.m. start.
No doubt. It just gives my tailgaters just a little more time to get their juices flowing, so I'm excited for that.
JJ.
Jeff, what's the status of JT Clark, and is there a chance we may not see him a lot this season?
Still week to week, and it's disappointing, but I told him, man, I love that kid, and it kills me now. The worst thing that's going to happen to him, he's got to come back and play for me next year and catch 100 balls. And the best thing that's going to happen to him, he's going to really come on here and go to the National Football League. So I worry about his mental more than I do his physical. The kid's been through a lot, and he's working his tail off to try to get back out there. And everybody needs to really keep him in your prayers and encourage that young man.
Have you guys discussed, the redshirt option and him coming back next season?
It's all on the table. We're just trying to see if we can get him right. If we can get him right, I want to get him on the National Football League. If we can't, obviously, he'll come back and play again. But we're monitoring that in discussion with his family and JT every day. And JT really trusts me, and I really trust him. So there's a lot of trust with us. We've been through a lot together, and really concerned about his mental as much as I am his physical.
Greg.
Jeff, when you talk about JT, is there something about this point in his health and recovery that enables him to be able to come in on some red zone sets, but sort of keeps him from being able to be effective in other parts of the field that you guys haven't turned to him in those scenarios?
We're just trying to bring him along slowly, and we didn't get in the red zone very much, Greg. We became a big play juggernaut all of a sudden, and we just didn't move the ball and get down there like we've been doing. The plan had been to get him about 20 snaps down there in the red zone for him, a few fades, maybe a slant, but we just didn't get down there very much.
With Trey Moore, I know you've mentioned in the past, I think last season we talked about ankles can kind of be like a week-to-week thing that you're always sort of managing. Is there a scenario with him where you give him some time off of it and then potentially come back at full strength, or is it going to be management through the year? How do you approach that situation?
Yeah, with the particular injury he has, it's going to be lingering the entire season. It's not bad enough that he could injure himself worse, but it's bad enough that it limits his mobility. So it'll just be week to week.
And with Brandon Matterson, did that happen during the Tennessee game, or did he pick up an injury during practice for you guys?
No, it was during the Tennessee game.
We've talked about a few different guys, but I also noticed Pig Cage didn't play in this game, and he was off the depth chart for you guys as well. Is that a long-term injury for him?
Afraid so. Tennessee game.
On a positive note, we saw Devin McEwen really come through again in this game. What is it about him that's allowed him to make an impact right away this early in his career?
His maturity. He's just extremely mature. He's an old soul. He comes from good people, got good parents, and he's just an old soul. He's ready. He feels like he belongs out there. He's got elite speed, elite power, great ball catching skills, high IQ. It's a lot of praise for a freshman, but he is all that.
At what point during this, whether it was in the spring or through the preseason, did you start to feel like he could be a guy who would have a chance to make an impact right away?
His sophomore year in high school when I was recruiting him already.
I think you mentioned a little bit earlier about the penalties, I believe, but there was two celebration calls against you guys. And obviously, I don't think that's something we've seen with this team during your tenure. Is it like being enforced differently, or is there something that led to that being called out in this game?
The AAC officials let me know after the penalties that this was going to be a point of emphasis this week. I found out after the penalties were called.
And then this is kind of a random side note, but they showed Robert Henry on the sideline at times in this game, and he had the gold grills in on his teeth. I was just wondering if you had any thoughts on that.
Never seen it, never heard of it. Appreciate you letting me know.
Anything else for Coach Traylor this morning? All right. Thanks, everyone.
God bless. Birds up.